Haz una prueba de sonido.
¿Me escuchan bien? Can everybody hear me properly? Okay, so we essentially worked on this board and so we trying to pinpoint some objectives and some which are going to be stakeholders where sponsors where we would get the resources to accomplish these things and the resources that should be available for people who want to work inside these ecosystems. So maybe the easiest part to begin with the stakeholders, and we think that the best way to build this ecosystem is having the universities at the heart of the ecosystem, because when you want to build something that requires a great deal of research and development, you need to have the opportunity to access and fund facilities and materials and maybe some licenses. And for students, they will have pretty much no resources by themselves. The only spaces where they can actually access this are going to be through the universities. So this ecosystem should be built with the universities at heart, and then try to have partnerships with the industry, because the industry is going to provide more funding, more opportunities, also exit opportunities, so that the projects can grow more, and also have partnerships with the government, with some ethics committees that can fast forward some of these processes, and hospitals and clinics that can support trials or experiments or pilot tests. On the aspect of sponsors, resources should come both from government, but also try to build a bigger network of angel investors and VC funds specialized on the industry and on biotech, health tech, and medtech, but also provide the opportunity for maybe some venture studios that could provide funds from project from just from the beginning, just by trusting on a team of accomplished students. Regarding resources, there should be a very good network of and ability to have mentorship regarding intellectual property, and also there's a lot of secret suggestions like hacker spaces and fab labs where people can work. And finally, talking about which should be the objectives that we would hope to accomplish in the next 10 years. I would like that within 10 years, we are able to build bigger multidisciplinary teams. So find a way inside the education that the engineers and the doctors can have better communication to build better ideas and work together from the beginning. Also, we established some milestones that we like that, for example, around 30% of capstone projects can evolve into startup projects. That at least 10 startups have a valuation of over 100 million. Sounds like a unicorn.
It's perfect for 10 years.
And also we think that the main objective should be that inside the education, we should work on building a culture of innovation, because we feel that the word innovation is a word that has become to use very liberally. So everybody talks about innovation. Everybody says, this university is gonna create the most innovative people. But that really doesn't mean much if you don't have strategies implemented to create people that know innovation. And usually on these programs of dynamic engineering, and you create very academic people that are very research oriented, and that many times just get into research because they get the opportunity and just work on projects because science, because you can make something that's science, and they just work for the sake of science and for the sake of maybe building and maybe writing a paper that can improve their chances for a master's or a PhD. But because they only work on these things just for science, they are not focused on working on solutions that are real, sustainable, applicable. So I think that, mainly what we think should be the main change is to implement on academic programs, a way for students to learn how to be more innovative and to care about building solutions that really matter. Thank you.
For the funders, you didn't say about like large. an option?
For funding,
You said, like,
yeah.
Venture capital and angels, but like, is this including? Like, if you look in the United States, many schools that have, well, like lots of resources have lots of partnerships with large companies for funding specifically.
Okay, yeah, I think we didn't talk that much, but we discussed it more like as exit strategies. So if you actually get, if you're able to push the project to a point where you can, you can argue that it's going to be sustainable, it's going to work, then you can find those partners that could buy the idea and have an exit or grow the idea.
Yeah, it would be interesting if you could like tell Medtronic, hey, we'll help you to innovate in this space that's difficult.
Make it attractive for them. Like,
Yeah,
to become our resource for them, like a new capacity, and make this to the real skills. We're talking more about the like the goals, and become like the research rate is like super clear, but the innovation path is like blurry. So we think that it must be the same, and the students to have the choice to become like interdisciplinary and not the opposite. So it doesn't have to compete, but to work together to make a better life. So that's what we mostly discuss.
cool. Sounds awesome. Ladies and single gentlemen.
He was ordered to.
He knows what the right way.
And we also need the
And maybe you have a chat. Eric added, researchers have an interest in saying this is what their technology can do. Entrepreneurs are interested in asking, why would someone want to pay for this technology?
Okay, so prepare yourself to be amazed
Wow.
by the Pan American Center of Innovation for Healthcare, which is what we envision for the next 10 years. And basically,
Better speaking of.
So basically, we already know that trying to innovate in healthcare is already too difficult. Like the success rate in healthcare startup is less than 1%. So we don't want to make it more difficult than it already is, and that's why we want to establish the Pan American Center for Innovation in Healthcare, in which our starting point, before we even say that, is that we envision this as a network, right? Because everything somehow is connected, and what we are aiming is just to create value to each of one of the actors, so they can like get involved in the process and they keep being motivated to work towards our objective. So we believe that everything starts here with universities and in practical with students that are the ones who are eager to create something. Maybe they just want to solve any problem solver, and they are motivated to work towards it. However, we students are like too naive. We sometimes need guidance, probably all the time we need guidance. And then is when mentoring comes and takes place. Because a lot of professors will be eager to help you because they are for the sake of generating knowledge or solutions that fits with the needs of your country. So and then here we can like start to create this relationship that is the most basic. Also, students will need to get access to healthcare facilities because it's not the same like you searching on Wikipedia what's like some demographical data, but what is really meaningful is you to go inside the place and get to see and get to experience what are the needs of the patients or even the doctor that are facing. So having like this network will allow you to not only get like some help, but actually to be witnessing whatever happens. So after this is like the most basic, and then we will start to attract more actors that will be relevant for us. For example, we also want to gather startups and little enterprise, little companies, because those are like at a certain point, there are little more amounts that probably a student that is interested, but they are not that high. So probably those startups will need help from those students that are eager to do something. And by adding these startups, we also are aiming that between universities and like healthcare centers, we can aim for incubators and accelerators to actually pay annotation, because we say, hey, we have some kind of background in which I can say this is not something about students just wanting a good grade, but rather people who are striving to create a greater good. So when this is created, we get access to like some inversion, it may be from the public side, from the government, or from, for example, VCs. When we have like more money, we can like begin to do some money, to do like what is the cool things. And so basically, we get access like to get to develop our idea, and then we can reach to the great companies. Then we can reach to Boston, and we can say, Boston, so far you have been dealing with infections in urinary catheters that is costing you this. I have already solved this problem, and you're going to pay me $300 million for this solution.
Okay.
By this, we are going to be financing like everything that has happened like before. And when we have like the contact with those big fishes, we can even aim for more. We want to establish contact with the regulatory entities of each country, so that is something like is some unification. Like you don't have to go to the same thing in Colombia, in Peru, in Bolivia, and in Chile, but rather that we have some common language that will make easy for the innovation to access all of the places, because we are looking for the greater good. So this regulatory aspect will come from even like some things you have to solve to distribute, to even like ethic committees that may have like some kind of common language, and it will be faster to proceed. And of course, when you have things in count, you have to also think about, and we shouldn't have like this here, but like the intellectual property is a huge deal here, because even if we are aiming for the greater good, I mean, we still have mouths to feed, so we need to make up for some living. And this will be our way to ensure that our researchers, our students that are really eager, like aiming to solve the life of someone, are going to still get like what they deserve, and it's not going to come someone and just steal their work and begin to profit from it. So our Pan American Center for Innovation in Healthcare, what we'll be doing to maintain this is basically we will ask the universities who want to like join with us to have certain level of infrastructure, which is like you need to have some lab with some equipment to allow your students to work. And also we will ask for them like for some fee, because the fact that you are part of this Center for Innovation is already a reason for your students to join your university. So you're already giving more value to the university, and that's why they will be eager to pay for making part of it. And also, we want to create like work tables in which all the actors can get involved, because this is not like they don't like talk between them just by us, but we want them to create strong relationships, to bond them, so that the students know what the startups are doing, or that the industry knows what are we currently working, and they even can reach us beforehand and like give us an early support. Also, we are going to organize an annual summit in which we will have like a catch up of everything that is happening. We will have an event of pitching in which our investors will come, And we will give a grand award to the one that has the first place, but as well we will give the contact that if you have any interest in supporting, you could be as any part of the network. I mean, you could be a mentor, a student, but if you are like interested in something, you have the chance to actually reach them and say, hey, I like this, I would like to work with you. And in this way, we're enriching the ecosystem and freeing us from the barriers that we not have so far. Thank you.
Sounds awesome. Yeah, you sound awesome. You guys have solved all of our problems. So it's interesting, this idea of like a model where you subscribe to be part of this, system, and then you get some value. It's actually VentureWell who is paying for this conference. That's how they work.
No, we are also adding, I think it's not well explained, but we have investment from public and private sector to build these Fab Labs for all the universities to join and to create and investigate and find the needs.
Cool.
Here it is going to be a specialized one and non-specialized one, maybe for innovators that are generalists and also specialized that maybe cardiologists and all of that to investigate them, and it's going to be also decentralized. Maybe we have in Peru, in Chile, and all that.
You guys think way faster than old people like me. That's
so,
amazing.
and universities have to pay like an annual membership, something there for the students to join these public spaces to investigate. So it's going to be very, for many careers to invent in that concept.
Yeah, this is awesome.
The ideas are, I think we have the ideas and we have a clear vision of what is needed. We need execution.
Yeah, that's my next question. So so pick something in your giant, brilliant plans here and like break it down to like, here's how we could actually start to think about it. It doesn't matter, you can pick whichever thing you think is the riskiest or the most interesting or the most valuable and the stickiest maybe. And maybe take like another 15 or 20 minutes and kind of, where do we start? So this is in 10 years where we're going, but where are we going? Just the next step.
Next steps. Any constraints like funding?
This is reality, the real world.
So right now is the real world.
No, it's fine. I was just gonna say that, and the grant money that we think that is very hard to get.
Yeah.
When you start talking to companies and money is even harder.
Yeah.
So I think it's good to have it there and say we can have companies as partners and funding and all that. But yeah, we have to realize that it's really hard to get big money from a company like for our purposes, not for the purpose. But I think
So let's say,
it's hard. It's hard.
and imagine initially you can get a small grant to begin, right? That's reasonable.
Oh, I think so. I mean, it is hard, but it's not like, I mean, people are knocking on the door saying, here, I want to give you this. I think we have to go and create the story for them and encourage them to give us the money. Yes, I think that we have to have a story and a value proposition for even the philanthropists that want to give away money are not so simple to just throw the money. But we have to build a story. What are they going to get back, or what is society going to get back for that money?
Okay.
Are they the ones on Zoom doing something like this, or are they presenting?
No, we
There
were.
was not like a group, like a module.
No, we were
Okay.
talking about how to teach biodesign
Okay.
in Missouri.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, 15 minutes? And then I'm gonna check in and then you're gonna tell me you're not ready and we're gonna do 5. I know how you work. That's quiet.
Okay. So we said,
But he's only speaking in Spanish. To hear how the African went, because I think it's a similar, yeah, I think it's the hardest part is getting started. Right, because once you have, like, we couldn't even figure out who to ask
yeah,
in the country of Mexico.
that's right. And now, because I asked somebody that comes from the Monterrey, that question, she said, yeah, I know a person that I can put you in touch with. Here, we reached out to the directors of the programs there are like 13 biomedical engineering schools here in Colombia. And some of them do teach design courses, some of them don't. And I think that the main thing was for those that don't teach to get to teach, to learn why they should be doing it. I think, to me, when I was this morning thinking about, what would we get out of this, is to get more schools to teach.
Yeah,
Right, because that.
because you were talking about that also. We have a lot of universities, and we saw that because of the pandemic too. A lot of universities with engineering faculties working on biomedical design projects without having a biomedical design program. So they do it from chemical engineering, from systems engineering, whatever engineering they do, they work in healthcare because everyone knows the need of healthcare solutions, but they do it from other programs. So even if they don't have the program, they should be learning how to do biodesign because they have topics in common. And we were thinking like, okay, maybe those people would benefit from this type of societies even without having a program, or they are planning on building one. I mean, if you're in this century and you are not thinking that your university needs a biomedical engineering program or a food engineering program, I mean, you're still thinking about petroleum engineering, you're falling behind. So it's something that needs to be built in Latin America. It's very new, and we need to be evangelized.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I think this is something that's of interest to VentureWell. It's of interest to American institutions. Like, literally, we were in this meeting and there's all these American institutions and people are talking about, oh, I have a collaboration here or here. And someone's like, how do you get an international collaboration? So like, it's difficult with, and like we said, we can't even find who exactly to talk to in Latin America. So like, it's just takes time to like
Yeah.
piece it together. And once more people know, there's like a critical mass and then you
And
can share more ideas and.
the fact that, for example, you two that are not from Colombia and are here and are fully present in the conference, and the fact that, for example, I have been answering emails and Juan Carlos left, is because you dedicate these 2 days only for this, and that's what happens when you travel for a conference. So what you were saying, why the Americans can do it, because they make the decisions to stop their work from the rest of their activities
Maybe.
to come back here, or maybe you're just going to your hotel this afternoon to do it.
Partially.
But the people here in Bogota who were connected this morning probably just left for doing some other works, and they just, I mean, you need to be here
Yeah.
full time to dedicate it. That's how conferences work.
There is no question.
Yeah.
We get
We get with other.
distracted with other
Very-
things when we are not there.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, I think, yeah. I mean, we can share this with Phil, we can.
Yes, and
Next
we were
time.
thinking, what do we need to start this? And it's nothing, it's just pick up your phone, and make some calls, and create a community to do it. And then look for a funding and bring on the people to just build a curriculum for Latin America. It's just, it's maybe nothing.
Yeah.
Takes a lot of work, but you don't.
And in a way, we kind of did this a little bit, and we asked people, are you interested? And they said yes. And will you come? And I said yes. And they're here.
The problem is how you try to like pass from like having the initiative to do it and actually being
Doing
here
it.
and doing the part of being
Yeah.
here and interact with the others.
Yeah.
That's the problem really, in
Yeah.
reality.
Yeah. And I think it's
But our Peruvian friends are the model citizens of this.
yes.
I already booked my flight, I will be there, I already booked my hotel.
Yeah,
Oh, okay,
but there are, I think,
this is amazing.
five other schools, and then it's just one represented, which is not really represented. Because your colleagues from the School of Engineering,
And they saw me here and probably said, oh, Natalie's there.
Natalia is there, and it's like, yeah,
Can we hear from the other group?
yes, please.
Having to show
Oh.
just like sitting here and stuff. So, yeah, this is-
We just talked about that we already have a lot of ideas, but as an objectives for 10 years. But we don't have that ideas like in an institution or in a way to do or to reach that object. So we start to think how we can reach that objective. And we discuss, and I can say that we kind of fight, trying to get, we discuss about, and that's, because, because we don't know if it could be like their proposal, like an incubator or something like that, and which objectives we're going to reach, like in a year, in 2 years, to reach the objectives in 10 years. So
It's okay? Okay.
so what we thought is that we, in Latin America, we have to start with what we have. That is not necessary to create a new laboratory or other new things. And I think that we end in a similar idea that they propose, because around Latin America, we have many institutions, I don't know all of them, but that are working by design.
Mhm.
So we have to connect the universities and the people that are very is working on that, and we can start there because there are the tools, the spaces to work, and we told them there are universities that are experts in tissues, other in artificial intelligence, sorry, and in other topics. So we can like complement the work by creating like an incubator that exists in this university and in the university in Peru, in Mexico, in Brazil, but that is a community. So if I need something that exists like in Brazil, I can go to Brazil and use the resources that already exist. And then with the help with because in the university is the people that know what we don't know, like intellectual property, things about I don't know, all those topics, ethics, and that the university have the people that know about that topics. I don't have to start to search for other people that know those topics because the university already have it. So I use what the universities have. So we think that we can start in that way, but I don't know. You want to complement something?
Okay, so
This is the controversial other
Yeah.
side.
not really, kind of, but not really. Well, I think the approach, it has to be like, what's the easiest way, but the one that has the most impactful results, right? So in order to start, we have to achieve like good results in less than 1 year. Okay, so if we want to reach the vision that in 10 years being a Latin American scope, there is not an easy achievement. We have to grow fast, like as a really good product, right? So we have to present, if we want to put a startup analogy, we have to present every traction in just 1 year. So this incubator that we explained, it was proposed because the resources were already available, right? So it's the easiest way. It's the easiest way. Inclusive, we have like Venture Well partnership that has some experience, reputation, about to probably launch a first generation and put all the effort in this first generation with clear results that in just 1 year, probably have one success story about one startup that reached a seed investment, right? So this is early traction for us in order to, okay, we achieve all of this in just 1 year. It might what we can achieve in 10. So we can provide more funds and ask for funds because medtechnology, biotechnology, health technology are not the cheapest one in the industry. Yeah. We have millions and millions of dollars in order to reach the market, but we have to start from scratch, literally, because there is no ecosystem yet. Well, I think that the result will be like this. Like if we put it in an OKR system, probably will be the objective will be like something like be a promising biodesign ecosystem, and the key results will be something like have one startup that reach seed investment, probably launch our first generation of the incubator, or and another one will be like one proper intellectual property filing or something like that, right? Well, and I think this is what
that was our fighting point because we think that in health it's difficult to create a startup that functions well in 1 year.
So what are those tangible traction things you can show in 1 year?
Yeah,
So,
and that was kind of the controversy in our conversation because if you want to find projects that are going to be sustainable within 1 year, you need to prioritize people working on application software. And if you start just prioritizing those from the beginning, you're going to create a bias to only promote those kind of projects. And health tech, biotech, you would be closing the opportunities, and you would be building a network and an ecosystem that prioritizes software rather than laboratory research and pharmaceutical solutions.
That was it.
That was the
Yeah.
Because, well, I think that the current landscape is there is no investment, like any investment in medical technology or biotechnology. So it's very hard to like the products in order to reach the market. So it's very complex. So if there is no evidence of success in this industry, I think like the most easiest way and the one that has the most impactful will be like the fields in which our current Latin American landscape already has some experience, like health tech or telemedicine, right? Health tech. So as long as we can reach some key results in the health tech technology that has easiest regulatory pathways, and we can increase probably the investment in the health tech industry, and then we can add one more layer, right? But with results that I think is key in order to keep me funded.
I was thinking that 1 month ago, when Paola graduated from her program, I went to Stanford and I listened to the founder of this program that has already moved on and to another person. But as successful as this program has been, they are starting to see that they need to apply this model to other things that are not just medical devices that are so hard to develop and so expensive and everything. So they say the model is good, but maybe we have to apply it to some other things that can bring results a little bit faster. So it makes me think that they are already thinking, even those that have a lot of resources, that this has been hard.
Actually, one of the most successful projects that came from the JUSEF program in India is in telehealth. There is a telehealth startup. There's no profit, well, and I think it has an ARR of $2 million. So probably in emerging countries where there is no like health authority that can like keep the products to go to market, it will be like the most strategic way in order to reach the whole 10-year vision. Right?
Yeah.
That would be a trade-off for us because everybody, all of us wants to keep building medical technology or biotech that is inclusive, more expensive than medical technology.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I mean, that's an interesting observation, though.
And this
because
is why the new person, York,
I don't know, Yuck's replacement.
no, it's yes, it's one of the founders, Maca. He's
Very interesting speaker.
Very-
Hear from him.
Yeah, it's thinking that that they have learned, it's time to apply to something else. So we will see a shift.
Maybe you're going to leapfrog and Stanford is listening to you guys in 10 years.
But also, if you look all the startups in Latin America that are receiving funding above $1 million to $2 million is telemedicine, impact health related to telemedicine too, and SaaS services. Software as a service.
Software as a service.
Yes, it's the only ways that are the only startups that are just
Yeah. Over here,
related to that.
we see a little bit of the digital technology, digital electronic medical records.
Yes, I work in a telemedicine startup right now, and it's the only health tech in Peru that is doing great. So the problem is really bad because first you don't have the regulatory process for all the medical devices that are built in your country to go to the market. And I think that in many countries in Latin America, that So only you have the opportunity to be like an amazing platform or digital platform to offer these services to the people. Also to be an e-press, I don't know how to say this. E-press is like a press establishment here to bring telemedicine services and all that. The process to be one of these establishments is like 5 years. So you have to treat the system to be like a platform that bring the technology services to another hospital and to give that telemedicine services to the school. There is a lot of things in Latin American countries that are not established. So to have a successful startup in health is very difficult.
Even like large companies like pharmaceutical companies, like a very established pharmaceutical company in medical technology in Peru, for example, they can spend like 5 years in order to introduce a product in the market. So it's that the profile of the prescription of a physician is also very constrained in, for example, Peru. So I've worked in Roche and Janssen, and there are some products that were patented like 15 years ago. They were launched in Peru like 5 years ago. The patented ended, and they never reached the market. So it's expensive, and all of these things have to.
We can give you some examples of things we have done here at the university, trying to go into the market, going through the clinical trials, dealing with a regulatory establishment that is clueless about things that are developed locally. So they know how to approve something that comes from the outside.
Only you're allowed to import.
In the end, you say it's so much easier to import, and the cost and the time it takes to bring something to
7 years
to the market.
Yes. But the technology is not personalized to your community. Your solution is built to another country that has another level of technology, and you are not solving the real problem that is happening. All the digital technology that is in medical devices and the prosthetics and all of the technology in Peru, you can go to another province and implement this technology there, because even you don't have a physician, you don't have a specialist to manage this technology. So what is the meaning of importing technology that is not going to be used? And also the access, the prices are really high. So if you don't have the regulatory process here, that I think is one of the main problems, you don't allow people to innovate and investigate these kind of things, because you know behind this process that you can do anything. Maybe start there is maybe good solution.
We have to bio-design the problem.
Yes, I think so. I think you guys are, this is awesome. I mean, it's hard. It's hard,
But it's possible.
I mean, biodesign is hard, and now you are telling me 400 reasons why it's even harder. Yeah.
But it's necessary because they have to, and by they I mean the students and the young people that are becoming innovators have to start somewhere and have to do things. You cannot learn this theoretically. You have to do it. And then it's the financial viability. So maybe some of these are not going to lead to financially viable startups, but maybe finding the sponsors that give so much money to other countries. Like, for example, whenever I think about the NIH or the NSF that give so much money to some of the American institutions, I guess it's reasonable because it's taxpayer money from the US, so it should go into the US. But if we can attract the attention of partnering to solve some of those needs here with local people, local students, local universities, local startups, I think it could be a good model because it's so much cheaper. to do
Yeah,
anything.
because
there.
that's also something very contradictory and very interesting. Is that developing a medical technology here is way cheaper than doing it in the States. In terms of how much an animal model costs, how much a clinical trial costs, how much the health system covers, because our healthcare system is fully covered. So the basic therapeutic or diagnosis tools you need to evaluate a technology, you have it covered by the healthcare system. So a clinical study is much cheaper. But the problem is that innovation in these countries, or specifically in Colombia, is not conceived as that expensive. So you say, okay, Colombia is improving in innovation, and they give you, when I say something, you may find this ridiculous, but they expect you to build and start a company with $30,000. And like, what are you gonna do with that? And that's what the government thinks you need, because that's what you need to put a shoe company or a sweater company or a t-shirt printing company. So the environment is really unbalanced. It really is. But we are doing it.
So what is interesting about your exercise here is that we both groups think that the place to start is the university. So we have the responsibility here to do.
Also, there is a lot of companies, startups that are like really in the system, producing the product here in Latin America, but go abroad to do all the regulatory process and like import. So you are solving the problem, building a product in your local community, but you do all the regulatory process abroad and just have your solution. There is a solution for everything. Just we have to productize on the process.
The other thing that is kind of sad, and we shouldn't just focus on the hard and the difficult things, is that some of those product innovators or product builders here don't get the local customers and the local hospitals to buy the products from them. So it makes it even more frustrating. For example, there is a.
No, but a nice story happened to me on Tuesday. I sent randomly an email to all the one clinics in Bogota, randomly. Hi, I have a new product, and I want to talk to you, to the contact email that no one answers. And then I get a phone call. Hi, are you Natalia? And I'm like, yes. You wrote me with a local technology? Yes, I have something that we're doing ourselves. And then I want to talk to you. Let's collaborate. I want to support my country. Was the the manager of the one clinic. And I was like, cool.
We have been working on wound care.
So it happens. It happens rarely, but it happens.
Yeah, but I mean, some established companies. There is this company that builds the mesh to repair abdominal hernia, which is an absolutely identical product to the product made in the US with the same quality, same everything at maybe 1/20 of the cost. Nobody buys it.
We talked about that as well.
Yeah, actually, one
You're waiting?
thing that one thing that I faced when I started in January, like with a medical device,
Sorry.
No, I'm so sorry.
medical device, kind of medical device startup company was like that. There are like inner interactions that we don't know about.
So
it. Like
the building is on fire and we shouldn't evacuate.
No. No.
Is it right?
False alarm. I know it's
They
going
are
to sound
testing the
harder,
alarm.
but they told me that we should not get scared and we don't need to evacuate, that they are not doing some
Testing.
testing. Yeah, so,
yeah, there are some like inner interactions between the stakeholders that probably we don't see. And something that I faced like personally is like actual corruption. You know, that to struggle to see the model even more.
By design.
Because the incentives of the people who buy it,
You guys are just gonna be so much better at biodesign than anybody else, because it's so much harder.
so at the end of this experience, I learned about like how many channels of corruption there are, and I think it's because there are probably I heard it from one executive, one sales executive from one clinic that they pays to the police in order to every time that happens an accident, a car accident, they pay to them because they want the police to bring the people to his hospital.
You know how they do that in the US? Little less sketchy. They just have a nice lounge for all the people who are paramedics, and they give them nice snacks and food. So it's
That's another way to
Another
bring
thing-
people to conferences.
Or probably when pharmaceutical companies or medical device companies like provide nice trips to the physicians to a congress that is like in, I don't know, Europe. It changes like the incentives of the physician, right? Probably you have a better product, but if you cannot reach the incentives, the physician will never prescribe your product. Yeah, and you have to be aware of these dynamics, because if you ignore it, you have a product on your storage.
how do you navigate that?
With personnel that quit their job, so they have no legal stuff involved, and I just. Well, I'm a student, I'm doing a project, I want to interview you, and just keep them talking.
Yeah.
But it was shocking, because it makes it so difficult.
Yeah.
It's not like a fire.
I was in the Miami airport and the fire alarm was going off for 30, 40 minutes and everyone's just,
It's maybe because somebody tried to open a door over there at the airport. Then,
but I always am thinking no one ever reacts to the fire alarm, so when there's actually a fire,
There was
we'll never go.
There was a fire in the university in 2019. I wasn't here. Yeah, I wasn't here. I wasn't here. It was hard.
a fire here.
In the mechanical engineering.
While training rapid fuel.
They're saying that it was just a gran incendio pequeño.
But I mean, I remember seeing the videos of the smoke coming out of the.
There was a lot of smoke.
There was a lot of smoke.
And the people were like